Hi, my name is Linda. Let's talk about Tchaikovsky. He wasn't just a general composer, he wasn't just a genius, but he was also super deep psychotherapist, and that's I'm going to show you. Tchaikovsky grew up in a big family. All his brothers and sisters played music, and he did it too. First, he started to follow his father's wishes and studying law, but with the time he realized that he doesn't want to study this, so he entered the St. Petersburg Conservatory and became a musician. It was super hard time for him, so he was hungry a bunch of times. He didn't have enough money for just living. But he graduated this conservatory with greatness and became a full-time composer. Tchaikovsky continued the work from Mikhail Glinka. He is different composer in Russia. So he added folk Russian melodies into his music. And his music, it is not just like beautiful, pretty melodies. No, it is also very emotional music. So when you listen to this music, you can feel that this composer, Tchaikovsky, understands you and feels the same what you feel. We're going to talk about 4 compositions from his life, and all these compositions are fit to any generation. When Tchaikovsky was a child, he and his brothers and sisters, they had a governess, Madame Dubois. And she loved Tchaikovsky so much. And she called this boy as a glass boy. So he was super sensitive, super kind, and you can understand any of his movements. He was super clear to other people. And with the time, he didn't lose these qualities of his character. So we're going to see a very honest music, what can open for us his heart, and we can open our hearts to this music too. Tchaikovsky was super kind and he loved children so much. So in 1878 he created an album what includes 24 pieces for children. They have super simple melodies and usually only children play it, but also adult people can feel other sense of these compositions. So as you can see, there are a lot of compositions like a French song or in a church or winter song. But behind these simple melodies, we can feel deep emotional context. Tchaikovsky dedicated this cycle of 24 compositions to his nephew, Vladimir Davidov. He also, after time, he also will dedicate his 6th symphony to the same nephew, but we are going to talk about this symphony later. So I want to talk about 2 compositions from this cycle, Sick Doll and Doll's Funeral. For example, I'm going to take some toy. Like, look, I love him so much. I love that he is so shiny and he is so lovely. So for children, it is their friend. So when their friend is sick or dies, they can feel this painful. And we are going to see this in these compositions. In the Sick Doll, we literally hear children's tears. So we hear this like melodies, like he cries near with his doll. And we hear like how melody repeats and repeats again. So we hear how he asks himself, what could I do? could I save it or not? The melody from the highest place goes down, down, and more down, and it stops a super low position with sadness, loneliness. We understand that we can do nothing, and after this composition, we see Doll's funeral. In Doll's funeral, we hear literally funeral march. And we feel that there is no hope, there is only regrets, and the child feels guilty. That is a phenomenon of Tchaikovsky, where it is not necessary to know what about this music and for what age is this music. You still can feel these emotions. Tchaikovsky knew that children can feel some sorrow, because there are lots of adult people who forget this, that they felt something in childhood. So that's why Tchaikovsky created these serious and super deep emotional compositions for children, even for children. At the same year, Tchaikovsky created the opera Eugene Onegin with poems by Russian writer Alexander Sergeyevich Pushkin. So it is a story about a young lady, Tatiana. She lives with her sister Olga and with their family in the countryside. She's so empathy girl, and she feels any bad feelings of these characters from these books. And Olga is more funny, and she has a joy. Olga has a relationship with a young poet Lenski. They have fun together. Lenski comes to their house, and one day Lenski invites his friend Eugene Onegin to this house. And Tatiana, it is he. Super romantical soul. She fell in love with 1 second in this mysterious figure, Eugene Onegin. She didn't understand anything. She fell in love with him. So he wrote him the letter about her feelings. But in that period of our life, it was catastrophical movement, because people cover their feelings, they do not show it, and mostly women. Men could show these feelings only if they are going to marry with women. And she wrote to him a beautiful letter. We hear super lovely, super long temptation melody of love, was full of sadness, was full of softness. This Tatiana's love. And this music, we don't want to stop this music. It's like a dream. This thing has 4 themes in music. It is like a heart. We can't feel the same feeling for 1 hour. And when we write the letter, the loving letter to a person, when we confess to him, we feel specter of emotions, and we can feel this in this music. So, in the first theme, it's like this. if it is not young love, where she confesses with love. Yeah. And Evgeny Onegin read this letter. He was touched, but he refused her. He came to their house and he said her like, well, I will not tell what you did, and I can't be with you because I'm not for long distance love. I'm not for relationship. He was like a poser, like, I'm not for relationship, I'm sorry, Tatiana. And he just like left and went to travel. Sometime left, and he came back to Moscow. And in the Moscow, he came on one parade, one like ball, huge ball, and he saw super etiquette, like perfect woman. And he realized that it is Tatiana, and Tatiana is married now, is married with one general. I just love the story. And he just like, oh, is that Tatiana? And he fell in love with her. He was obsessed. He was like, Tatiana, I want to live with you. I want to be with you. Please, I give all my life to you. Please. He wrote a lot of text to her, and she didn't respond him. They meet after time just because she was like incredibly tired of his late letters. It ruined her self-help. So they started to talk with each other in the finale of the opera. So they are talking, and Tatiana says him like, Evgeny, I love you still. I still love you. But I can't be with you, because I am married with another man. I can't be with you, Evgeny. And Evgeny understands his statement. And she starts to cry, and he starts to cry. Tatiana sings one phrase, and Onegin takes this phrase and repeat this. And she sings this with pianissimo. It looks to me as she just became a child in that moment, injuring child, and she wasn't protected. And the last scene of full of honest and full of pain, where Tatiana didn't think she can't bear these feelings anymore. This opera is one of the tragical and fantastical operas about youth, and this build of a lot of emotions, a lot of contrast, and full of romantic vibes. In 1891, Tchaikovsky created the opera The Queen of Spades, what based on a short story by Alexander Sergeyevich Pushkin. This story about very old woman who was super mysterious, and no one understood how she had earned all her money. There was one legend about this woman. She didn't have money at all, and she just knew the secret of free cards. It was super popular card game in Russia. It was called Pharaon, and people thought that you play with not with other person in this game, but you play in this game with destiny. So this woman, from her friend, came up the secret of free cards, and she could able to multiply her money in 3 times. And there was a poor young guy, who fell in love with a nephew of this woman. So she was called Lisa. She was young woman, super pretty young woman, and she always listened to her very old grandmother. German, this guy, he didn't have enough money. He decided to know these free cards to become rich and be with Lisa. When they met at the first time, when German, Lisa and the very old woman met each other in the first time, Lisa says, "Oh no, I'm afraid of this man. Why is he looking at me so scared?" Old woman says, "Oh no, I'm afraid of this man." They were talking with themselves. "I'm scared of this man. Why is he looking at me?" And German, we know that German and Lisa are lovers. They will love each other. Now they don't know each other, but they would love each other. But Tchaikovsky put here the phrase of German, not to Lisa, but to old woman. So he says, "I'm afraid how she's looking at me." Then we hear fantastically Ballada of Tomsky, when exactly he says about this mysterious story of a very old woman and this story about free cards. Tchaikovsky always put 3 leitmotifs all the time. 3 words, 3 cards, 3 times to repeat, like free cards, free cards, free cards. So this is like a sacral sense, sacral symbol of number 3. And German is getting to be obsessed by this story, and he says like, "Oh, free cards, free cards, free cards. I want to know free cards, free cards, free cards." But with the time, as long as he going deeper in this story, he becomes more and more influenced by this story and addicted. So he lost his mind. He came to Elisa, but he decided first to go to her old grandmother to know these free cards. And this old woman, she just like was so scared when German showed her his gun, and she just dies. And after time, she appears behind him, and she tells him as a ghost, and she tells him that, "Okay, I'm going to tell you 3 cards, but promise me that you're going to marry with Lisa and you will protect her and you will save her." He promised this, and she said him like, "Here's 3 cards, 6, 7 and ace." But German was so addicted with this mysterious secret. So when Lisa was waiting him near with the river on a bridge, she was waiting him, and he came. They fell in love with each other. He tells her that he loves her so much, and yeah, Lisa, we are going to marry. And Lisa was so happy. And after this, he said like, okay, let's go, like it's time, let's go. We are going to gambling house. I know 3 cards and all money would be mine. And Lisa was shocked. She lost her mind too in 1 minute. She pushed him and she said that she doesn't know him, he changed it all, and what is wrong with him, and he's just crazy. And he did the same. So he ran away, and Lisa just jumped in a river and died. After this, we understand with you, he didn't do what her grandmother wanted, so he came to gambling house, and he put 1 card 6, he put 2nd card 7. He realized in that moment that he's going to earn like extremely impossible money from 3rd card, and that would be all. And he said ace. We understand that he lost because he sees the card Queen of Spades. When he saw this Queen of Spades, he was shocked. Maybe he had a heart attack, and he started to see this ghost of old woman who followed him all the time. And he felt this, like all the opera, he felt this like dark power. So he sees this ghost and he starts to tell like, what do you want? You want my life? He takes a knife and give her his life. And he says, take it, take this, take my life. And in the end of this opera, there is some very interesting moment. So, in general, Tchaikovsky shows us some mysterious opera about fate, about destiny, about some power what leads us to some road, to some final. So, destiny is a death, and this death takes us to one road and we follows her, and in the end she takes us. Death. We can decide that this is super tragical opera, but we have only 1 moment, the last moment, what we can interpret as hope. So at the end, when German is dying, he starts to see, in the last moment of his life, he starts to see again Lisa, and he talks with her and he says, oh Lisa, it's you forgive me, oh my love. So, and in this moment, opera ends. So last words were about love. And I think this opera is not so tragic just because, yes, main character is dead, but Tchaikovsky was Christian and he believed that death is not the end. So even if a main character died, it is a normal price, it is acceptable price for being in love. Because he was dying with love in his heart. Tchaikovsky shows us that yes, it is completely tragical, but nothing is ended, because love is more powerful than even death. For example, Eugene Onegin ended super sad. So Evgeny just says like, oh, my life is so bad, so awful. That's all. But here I see hope, and like hope that love can win even death. The last composition, not only in this list but in Tchaikovsky's life, is his sixth symphony. His sixth symphony is surrounded by mystery. He died after 10 days of his premiere of this symphony. After 10 days, he died. He planned this symphony as the last composition in his life. So he planned to end his career with this composition. And he answered, like he talked about this composition as the most favorite composition in all his music life. So he loved this this symphony very much. And this is a program music. So he exactly wanted to tell something, but he said about what he put in this symphony only to his brother Modest Tchaikovsky and again to his nephew Vladimir. The symphony is profoundly dark. You know, symphony in general has 4 parts. First part, it is usually allegro or moderata. Second part, some like third part, and fourth part, it is usually the final, grand final, with tremendos, with like wow, some fabulous. Yeah, but this symphony is different. The first part, it is a question without answer. And question is sent to silence. No one answers on that question. Second part, it is like a valse, and we can think like, that's great, we can dance. At the beginning it feels elegant, but then we just start to realize that it is imbalanced valse, it is incorrect valse, because it has 5 quattro. Usually valse has 3 quattro, but here it has 5 4. So you can't dance with this valse. It looks like valse, but it is just illusion. So all what you can do is just listen to this valse and like feel that it is like someone loses his place under his legs. The third movement is a march. It is Triumph March, and some conductors think that this is a march of fabulous, that Tchaikovsky wrote this march about that he is famous composer, he finally successed everything what he wanted. But other conductors, and I agree with them, they think that this is part of fate, part of dark, mysterious power. And if we know the final, and we are going to know with you the final of the symphony, we would understand that it is more correct option. The final part, it is a funeral. After this parrot, this powerful parrot, we see funeral. He breaks symphony's structure because usually composers created grand finale, and we hear how music goes lower and lower, breath and breath, and go into silence, like life stops. In my opinion, Tchaikovsky did this because he wanted exactly to tell something, not just for beautiful music. No, he wanted to tell something. If he wanted to make grand finale, he would do this because we know perfect example of his like fantastical dance in the opera Eugene Onegin, Polonaise. But here it is a different story. And he knew that opera wouldn't be so accepted by people. He knew this, and he did this because he wanted people stay in silence after this symphony. And it happened what he wanted. Oh, no one didn't understand. But with the time, of course, people start to understand more and more. And through all symphony, we hear every time question, question, question. We hear how we lose hope, how we lose love, how our dreams are dying, how our hopes are breaking. And it is always questions, 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 without any answer. Tchaikovsky wrote not just music with beautiful melodies. He is a super deep psychotherapist who can understand you in every your age. He can understand children, and his music can help also to adult people. His music is supported and tells us that we are not alone in our inner and deep emotions. He's sharing every feelings with you, whether it is just a doll who you buried, or it is your fear of death. Thank you for watching this video. I hope I gave you some information. Also, you can offer me some ideas for my new video. Thank you.